Welcome back to Chasing Whiskey.
I'm James.
And I'm Terry, and this week we are finally finishing our tour of Scotland.
I can't believe it.
We're on our second Campbeltown whiskey, and this week we have Hazelburn. Cheers. Final stop. What do you think, James?
That is a beautiful box.
Isn't that interesting? How it's instead of actually spending all the effort making the box decorative, they just put a hole in it.
That is...
And there's no, plastic. It's nice, actually. What do you think?
That's our first see-through box.
It is our first, yeah. There's a hole in the box. All right, shall you open it?
Sure. Here we go. Ready? Oh, yeah.
All right, so what do you think of the bottle?
It's pretty. I like it. It's
Do you notice
unique.
anything?
The shape is... We've got a couple of that kind of shape.
We have one exactly the same as this shape.
Really?
Look at the front.
Oh, is it?
Springbank Distillery. So
Oh, it's from Springbank as well.
yes, so Springbank, which we had last week, actually makes 3 different whiskeys, as we talked about. Hazelburn, which is our non-peated, Longborough, which is our heavily peated, and Springbank, which is partially peated. So it's identical in the bottle itself. The label's obviously different, right? So the label has 3 stills and slightly different, but yeah, it's the same bottle.
And there's
So
only 3 distilleries in
Campbeltown, yeah, but Springbank makes 3 distinct brands out of their distillery. So there are 2 other companies as well. Anyway,
That is really cool.
what do you think of the color?
Because the last one was so good.
You're hoping this is as well, yeah.
This
So-
is, it's lighter, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Triple distilled. Yeah.
I don't know if we've got one this color.
It's hard to say. Why don't you pour us a glass and we can determine?
Okay.
I'm just trying to get into the whiskey.
Let's see here. Ready?
Yeah, always. Yeah, nice.
Okay. Oh, that
Thank
is
you.
light.
It is kind of light. There you go. Color on the glass. What do you think?
I thought I had something, but
I interrupted your memory.
what are you taking?
I smell, I want to say floral, but I don't know if it's floral or if it's, if you're right in there, it's a bit strong. How strong is it? 46.
Same as Springbank.
Was it? Yeah, you're right. Is there, I don't know, there's something there. Something a little bit strong, like a, I hate the word astringent because you never understand what I mean when I say astringent. But something strong.
Definitely floral.
Anyway, should we get into it? Cheers. What do you think?
That's nice.
Yeah, just long. I can still feel it.
That's what you said. Any notes though?
I don't know about notes yet. There's definitely some heat, and it's slow to build up and stays stronger and stronger and stronger, and then it sort of fades away.
It's gotta burn.
And then on the aftertaste, it kind of slowly comes back just a bit as a bit of a heat. Do you feel that?
Is it a heat like peppery, or is it just a heat?
I don't know.
I still feel the burn on the back of my tongue.
Yeah, it's strong. It's nice. It's not a unpleasant heat. but it's a heat for sure. Now, it's also our first dram. We haven't had anything else to drink for ours.
That's true.
It's 46. Maybe, you know, take a few minutes to open it up.
The last week's 46, I didn't find it strong like this. I feel strong.
You were in shock because you thought we were doing our 10.
Yes.
Your last review is null and void, my friend. You were shocked. You were running on adrenaline. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Anyway. There's a little bit of sweetness early on. The heat's still there.
An apple?
I don't know. It's an apple. It's not an apple I'm familiar with. It doesn't mean it's not appley. Lots of different apples. It's really smooth. Like it's like the aftertaste is incredibly long. I could see taking this as a long, slow dram.
I don't detect that big flavor profile coming through.
So when we talked about,
it's more narrow.
Yeah, and we've talked about that. I think it was last week, right? We said there was a lot of things, but they were kind of all together and
perfectly together.
Yeah, so the flavors were more nuanced. They weren't like jumping out at you. The only thing I find here is that there's a definite heat that comes up, and there's some sweetness first, but the heat comes up. So there's a differentiation for me between the sweetness at the beginning and the heat. But once the heat hits, I can't taste anything else. It's pleasant, but I can't pull the flavor. It's probably my lack of sophisticated palate or my loss of experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful whiskey.
It's not harsh, even though it's 46 and has that heat. It's not like I'm going, like, you know, we've had that too, right? Where, you know, they're a bit too hard at times. This is much more smooth.
And I find it's getting sweeter as I get more used to it.
Yeah, first dram's hard sometimes.
The burn on the back of the tongue is still there.
There's a heat. I don't know if I call it peppery, but it's the after effect of pepper, maybe. What do you think?
I think we have to check the notes.
We will after we have open it up with water and see what happens. Hazelburn itself has an interesting story. So Hazelburn was an actual distillery. You're done. Well, we'll get to the water right now before I get to my little story. How's that? So much for taking it slow. Here, I'll pour us another. Yeah, I like it.
It's obviously pretty good.
Oh no, it's incredible. It's more complex than I'm used to in terms of its like there's nothing that's jumping out to say, okay, there's a flavor. And sometimes we have a flavor, we don't know what the flavor is, but it's obvious that there's something there, right? You just don't have the experience. Like there's something and then we'll read it after the fact and we'll go, oh, of course, that's an apricot or whatever. There's nothing here that's jumping out to me other than the heat. And the heat, I could say it's peppery, but I don't know if it's pepper or if it's definitely not a cinnamony thing. But I don't know, is it ginger? Is it, you know, wasabi? Like the heat just stays, it lingers. I find pepper is harsh for a second and then dulls down. This heat just kind of...
And we always drink it like immediately instead of waiting.
I know, waiting and the minute in the glass for every year in the cask thing. But again, that's for you. So while we let this come together with the water, so Hazelburn actually was a distillery that was around in Campbeltown in the 1800s.
Let me guess.
What?
It went defunct.
Oh, well, actually, the Mitchell family bought it.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was because they were financially struggling or what. I didn't dig deep enough into the history because every time I tried to start digging into history, they would start talking about the flavor profile. So I turned away and found another source. Wikipedia's entry is like one paragraph. But essentially, the Mitchell family bought it. And then I think they shut down that distillery completely and started bottling a branded Hazelburn brand of this whiskey at their own distillery just in the last like 20 years or so.
I wonder when you take over a whiskey, if you take over you must take over their inventory. So you could have like, you know,
a 50-year-old Hazelburn that actually was the original. Yeah, that's probably true.
That's be a neat way to get into the business instead of having to wait the 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think now? Any changes?
Definitely mellowed it out.
Cheers.
I still don't know what I'm smelling.
Yeah, I have some hints of floral, but again, there's something else there, and I have no idea what it is. I don't.
You know how we always describe the profile is, I can't even get a bead on this.
To me, the only thing is that, like I said, it's sweet, and then it does have that sharpness of the heat, but it's not a dramatic change. It's a slow buildup of heat, and then it kind of goes away for a minute, and then it comes back in the finish. But it's a high heat. Like, there's a lot of heat there. You know how when you have a spicy food, like a buttered chicken or something like that, where the buttered chicken's kind of sweet, but also has a little bit of spice, but the spice sort of grows over time and comes to you, but it's still sweet. But that spice just stays with you for the hour after you've had it. Yeah, exactly. And the more you have it, the hotter it gets. That's what's happening here. I find that it's sweet.
I would agree.
And then it's that heat. So the experience of having butter, it doesn't taste like buttered chicken. The experience of eating something that's got a mild spice that continues to get hot, that has a bit of sweetness, like a butter chicken, is exactly how I'm experiencing this. The flavor is not like that at all. The flavor, I can't pull a note. Like, it has a traditional whiskey flavor, incredibly smooth. I can't pull a single note. Other than that bit of heat, which you could call it peppery.
Do you like it with water or without?
I don't think it matters a whole lot. I think without the water, the heat is a little lower and slower, but it sticks around just as long, and it's just as hot after the fact. But that initial buildup of heat is slower and lower.
For my palate, I think I like the water. It mellows it out a little bit.
All right, give us a read and see if there's any notes in the back.
Hazelburn is triple distilled, completely unpeated, single malt produced at the Springbank Distillery. Like all of our other single malts, Hazelburn single malt whiskey has not been chill filtered, nor has any caramel been added. I kind of get the sense of a little caramel, like, even though it's not added.
Caramel added for color.
Well,
so what they usually do, like a lot of them will use caramel coloring to have the consistency between batches, right? That's what that is. So non-chill filtered, no caramel added. What they're talking about is the color, not flavor, right? Because if you flavor it, it's not whiskey anymore, right? It's a flavored whiskey beverage.
Right.
So that's what they're talking about, is caramel coloring. And there's other ones that we have that probably have that. And so they're telling us there that they don't use it, which is very convenient. We need to start looking that up, actually.
This may cause a slight haze to develop at low temperatures. Now, when you asked me about the color, and I said it's very light, but it almost, to me, has a haze.
Yeah, and it was in a room. It wasn't cold in here. But yeah, I could see, like, sometimes you pull a whiskey out of the fridge, if you put your whiskey in the fridge. Which
should soon return to normal.
Yeah.
And on the box,
is there anything else there? Yeah.
Scotland's oldest distilling family, J&A Mitchell, opened their distillery in 1828 on the site of the previous illicit distillery of Archibald Mitchell. It is unique among Scotland's distilleries in that all parts of the production process, from traditional floor malting to bottling, are carried out in one location.
We talked about that last week, yeah.
It's the only distillery in Scotland to produce 3 different single malts. That's interesting too.
Oh, I didn't know they were the only ones. That's really interesting.
So they do Springbank, which we tried last week, Long Grow.
Oh, I said Long Bro every time I said it. So either I'm wrong or they have a typo in their box. The probability is that I'm wrong. Long Grow. I've been saying Long Bro. Okay.
And
Hazelburn.
The
magic question. Again, this was sent to us by one of our subscribers. I paid for it, but they handled the logistics. Yes, thank you very much.
We can't get these here.
We can't even get them in the entire region where we are. Not like you can get them in Canada, but at very, very specialty shops that carry limited editions and things like that.
So because of you, we were able to actually complete our tour of Scotland.
Yeah, so thanks.
2 bottles each region.
So would you buy it again?
Well, of course I would. Would some others come before this? Like Springbank was, to me, that one is almost heartbreaking because it may be, I don't want to give anything away, but it is for me, like one of my favorites.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. You heard it here first.
And we can't even get it here.
There's something about that, an inability to get it, that actually raises
Maybe,
the...
but no, the profile of that was just so perfect. So now I'm comparing everything to it.
Yeah, I know.
And yeah, I mean, this is definitely top.
But it's not in a 5-bottle collection unless you're replacing something that you...
Yeah, I would have this in my cycle of fantastic whiskeys.
Okay.
But I probably have my staples that are my favorite.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. We're going to need to have a bigger collection than that 5-bottle collection at home. It's going to be tough. Yeah, so it was $119 Canadian. So again, over our typical 100. But again, it's in the desire to actually do the complete tour of Scotland, and the fact that a subscriber reached out and offered to send it to us, I jumped over it and bought both. So yeah.
And so it could be our palates are
not
ready for.
No, it is absolutely delicious, but there's no single note I can pull out at all. And I don't know if that's because it is so smooth and so well put together, or if it's because I'm just not sophisticated enough to do it. Either way, I find it very good. So I'm the same with you. I would buy it again.
How would you?
But it would not be. I would not replace. I'd have a bottle that's over $100. That's for special occasions, for people who really appreciate it. And I would only pull this out if the night was going to be a long night, because I think this dram lasts a long time. We've pounded through these. I can still taste my last sip, and it has been a while, right? And so I think this is a dram that you enjoy slowly for the evening. It is not one that you are slamming back.
Although I gotta say, I think my palate is catching up. I'm starting to.
Can you pull anything, or is it
no?
just
I can't.
able to keep up? You drank the first one fast. I went through the second one fast.
Yeah, now I'm like
slow it down on purpose.
Maybe the blend of notes is just so subtle that I'm not able to pick it up. But that last drink was spectacular.
Yeah,
so it's changing even as we.
Yeah. So, dang good job, Springback Distillery, on your Hazelburn. I've been very impressed. Yeah. All right, so what do you say we pour the last dram?
Yes.
Say goodbye to these lovely folks. Good, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The heat is making me sweat.
Yeah. All right, a wee and a half dram.
You going water or no water?
I think I'll put a little water. I think it was an easier drink with the water. And there we go. It just enough room for the bottles, not enough room for the boxes. So that's our tour of Scotland.
That is quite a tour.
Yeah.
You're right. The bottles are
identical. Yeah.
So what are you smelling?
I want to say apricot, but I don't know if it's because apricot just sounds more sophisticated than saying apple.
No,
but I don't smell apple myself. I smell floral for sure.
I'm convinced it's a golden apple, just like the one I threw at you when we were 6. Nice shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. You're not even wearing a watch.
No,
I caught James without a watch for the first time.
I was playing baseball today.
Oh yeah, okay. He's got a good throw. What do you think?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you to our anonymous.
Thank you for our logistics to send us some Campbeltown whiskeys. We truly enjoyed them both very much. All right.
Cheers.
See you next week.